Rockets is a Sacramento King. Trace, did you see that one coming?
I did not. He wasn't a name that I had on my radar. It was a guy I thought maybe earlier in the offseason that I think we threw out there. When we did our wheel of names, maybe he might have been on there. But a little shocking that this was the guy that they signed after making a trade with McDaniels.
Yeah, Dougie McDermott, 10-year NBA veteran, appeared in 64 regular season games. Last year, Kings have a pair of openings on their projected 15-man regular season roster. I'll tell you one thing, a lot of Kings fans, when they hear Doug McDermott, they think back to the 2nd of April, 2023, when the Kings are trying to lock things down, and the Spurs beat the Kings in overtime, and Doug McDermott scored 30 points. At Center. Remember that? He was on fire.
I don't remember that, but wow, yeah. That was one of those PTSD things, one of those like nightmares we're trying to forget, right? So what do you think about this move, man? You like it?
At first I was underwhelmed and a little puzzled by it. But, remember before the offseason began, I said, I think they need shooting. Well, they add shooting, and you add a veteran player coming off the bench who has a good history with Huerter and also with Domas. So I get it. I just felt like they were going to go in another direction as an organization.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nice little pickup.
Yeah.
I think, for what the team needs, this is an upgrade over Jalen McDaniels. This is a guy that can actually, give you something, and this is something I talked about yesterday, a specific skill set. Jalen McDaniels, we don't know what his skill set was. It's, I don't know what he brings to the team. We know what Doug McDermott brings to the team. When you look at some of his career numbers, 41% career three-point shooter. They did not address any defensive needs, which is, concerning to me. I'm looking at the perimeter defense. I think we definitely need to upgrade there. So in that respect, it was a little surprising that this was the guy.
If anything, this move exacerbates that, right?
Right.
Dougie McDermott not going to be a threat to make any all defensive teams.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. It's like, you go, ideally he's probably backing up DeMar DeRozan, probably your 10th man, if you will. Won't play a whole lot. But, yeah, it's, here's the thing about the Kings, the roster. And, this is why I thought maybe Keon Ellis could come off the bench. When your defense is struggling to start the game, who's your relief pitcher? Who's in the bullpen that you say, all right, we're struggling defensively. Let me look over here and grab this guy off the bench, plug him in. We don't have anybody like that. And that concerns me. And so they still have an open roster spot. Maybe they do something else. That's why I thought a guy like Jay Crowder, even though he's getting up there in age, a lot of miles left, made a little bit more sense for me than Doug McDermott. But I get their plan. I get their idea. This is a guy that can spread the floor and knock it down. Now, let me say this. When you got Doug McDermott, great three-point shooter, I think this makes, in my opinion, Kevin Huerter more likely a starter for the Kings this season.
Really?
Because I feel like Huerter and McDermott are kind of redundant. And coming off the bench, and we'll have to see what Mike Brown's plans are for McDermott. Maybe he's a DMP CD guy. Maybe he's a part of the rotation. We don't know. But having two guys, McDermott and Kevin Huerter, coming off the bench behind Malik Monk also, it seems like we got too many similar guys coming off the pine.
We don't know if the Kings are going to do anything else, but if they wanted to, assuming that Dougie McDermott is signing for the veterans minimum or something thereabouts, that would make, and then he makes the roster, he would count against the cap for about $2.09 million. That would leave the team's salary roughly $3.7 million below the luxury tax line with 14 players under contract.
Right.
So bottom line, if you wanted to add somebody still, you'd have about $3.74 million with which to do it. But
yeah. And that's not a lot, but that's a veteran minimum kind of guy.
Yeah.
Somebody, no big splashes or anything like that. I do think by adding Doug McDermott, and you talked about it before, we definitely need some perimeter defense coming off the bench. We don't have any. Like, that's what I thought. Maybe if Jalen McDaniels could show that would be his role. Clearly he didn't during the preseason. But right now, it's Oh, and I'm looking at Compio already trolling out there. Welcome to the Kings Cooper flag sweepstakes. Come on, Compio. Come on.
Wow, that's a little
right.
premature.
I mean, the signing of Doug McDermott means we're done. Like it's what are we talking about here? But yeah, like you said, it exacerbates the need for more defense on this team, I think.
Yeah. So I think a lot of fans were disappointed because they thought the team would get tougher. They thought the team would get a little more size. It's not to say it's not a good move, but I think that's where fans are.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't speak for you. Fans thought again, somebody with a little more of that dog in them, and that's not what this move is. So some fans, I think, are feeling a little bit like, well, wait, why did they do that? They did it to add shooting.
Add shooting, which the team needs. Obviously, we see this preseason, they're not able to knock down their threes.
No,
which is,
not really, huh?
Not really, which is kind of surprising, man. Like, you would think at some point, one game at least, they get hot from three.
But do you think this was in reaction
No,
to that?
no, I think this was all part of the plan.
I
think this was part of the plan even before yesterday or anything like that. It's just it's a solid move. He's an NBA player, but if we're being honest, he's probably not the difference between a championship and not.
I think that's one of the things that surprised me a little bit, Kyle. It's the type of move that a team makes when they're maybe towards the end of the year and they feel like this one guy is going to give us just enough, And right now it's like, well, okay, he helps them some, but how is it a significant move?
Yeah.
We'll see. But that's, I think, why some of us are a little, okay, I guess I get it, but
did we set ourselves up, though? Did we set ourselves up, and I'm talking Kings fans in general, Ingram, Levine, precursor to maybe a big move. I wasn't expecting, I'm sure you probably weren't expecting fireworks, but there was some talk out there. This is a sparkler. This is a little smoke bomb, if you will. It's like a starter pack, just something.
Sparkler or smoke bomb? There's a big difference between those.
Is there a big difference?
Sparkler's like, okay. Smoke bomb's like, I'm out.
Oh, shoot. All right, so he's not a smoke bomb. Okay. He's not a smoke. He's a sparkler. He may give us a game or two where we like, oh man, that's a pretty good game from Doug McDermott, but it doesn't move the needle in the Western Conference. Well, let me ask you this though, too, real quick.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about the Devontae Adams trade and him going to the Jets. Their roster is improved. They are better talent-wise. They have more. Same thing with the Sacramento Kings, though. You go from McDaniels to Doug McDermott, that's an upgrade. It might not be a big one. It might not be 5 games, but you're slightly better now.
I agree with that. Looking at the bench a couple days ago, maybe it was last week, there were a lot of question marks on there. Like, this guy could be good, but we don't really know. Now you have a guy who's a proven commodity.
Yes.
And he's a proven shooter. A lot of NBA writers and media members, they call this guy sharpshooter, that guy sharpshooter. Sometimes, he's really not. This guy is.
Yeah.
When you look at his shooting numbers, he is a sharpshooter. But as far as the disappointment over this not being somebody else, that's your fault because you got us all excited yesterday about Jay Crowder.
So would Jay Crowder be exciting?
I think it was
like, would that be, here we come?
That was
raising
the type
the championship
of player that a lot of fans were expecting. You know what I mean?
I was.
It's not really your fault.
No, I was about to say, how am I taking blame for that?
If they sign him, he'll be on the show.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I know. I got excited.
Yeah, exactly. And who knows? Maybe that'll still happen. Jay Crowder is still out there. But no, you're right, man. It's Doug McDermott, solid player, veteran guy. Pro's pro, if you will. But yeah, we still need a little bit of dog, a little toughness. I mean, I'm looking at what happened last night, and I don't even need the box score, Whitey. The eye test was telling me Utah felt comfortable against us last night, even though they turned the ball over 26 times. I think they felt comfortable in their shots. Keontae George looked comfortable out there. We need somebody that's going to make them feel uncomfortable, and Doug McDermott isn't that right now.
Did Keegan pass up a 3 that he should have taken at the end of the game?
I thought Keegan passed up a 3. I thought DeMar DeRozan passed up a layup at the rim, the one where he threw out there and threw it out of bounds. I thought the final possession was poor. Like, you got to draw up something better than that. And so, I'm going to have Drape Steaks coming up at 4:00, but that's one of the things I was disappointed in. The late game execution. And maybe it's guys trying to figure out, like, for instance, DeRozan making that extra pass. Maybe he's trying to be the team player and overthink. Like, finish up at the rim, DeRozan. Go knock that down. Same thing with Keegan. I thought Fox could have made an extra pass, late in the game too. And so maybe that's just guys trying to learn each other and figure it out. But the reason why you bring DeMar DeRozan in, reason why you got a De'Aaron Fox, clutch games, late in games, you should be money. I didn't think it was that good closing out last night.
Yeah, preseason or not, there's one thing, and we all know what it is, that the Kings have